Okay, but today we're going to be doing the speeding down slopes lab. And this lab consists of this ramp, which is going to be 200 centimeters long from here, from the end of the board down to the edge of the table. What we're going to do is we're going to send this little side-by-side toy down the ramp, and we're going to time how long it takes to go from the end of the board off the table. We're going to do this for 6 trials, and each one of the trials are going to have a different elevation, so that the board is going to be lifted up with a stack of books, and we're going to record the elevation, and then we're going to record the time it takes to travel across, and then we're going to look at that graphically and how it would look if you put it into a line graph. Okay, so the very first thing we have to do with our data sheet, and we'll go back to this after it's all finished up. On your data sheet in Kami, we're not really going to use these time trials here. A lot of this stuff has to deal with what we were looking at if we were going to be doing this in class, and we had enough ramps and things that everybody would do their own. Okay, and we're not going to need average time and average speed. And so, pretty much going to need the elevations in this table and the average time, and then we're going to need this graph completed. And we'll do that together as we go through the data collection. Okay, so like I said, 2 steps. We're going to gather the data. We're going to raise the ramp up, test how fast the car goes down, and then we're going to graph this with a line graph after it's all finished. Okay, and you'll be able to see graphically how the elevation affects the time it takes for the traveling side-by-side utility vehicle. Okay, so first thing we have to do is we need to get the height of the ramp from here to the tabletop. Okay, we're going to put a ruler here. We're going to bring it across. And wherever these line up, we're going to say that that's going to be good. We're going to say it's 8.2 centimeters. 8.2. So on my data table, I'll write down 8.2 centimeters for the first trial down at the bottom for elevation. 8.2 centimeters. Not going to do this or this. Okay. So for the first trial, you're going to write down 8.2 centimeters. Now I'm going to take the car with the side-by-side, put it at the top here. I'm going to run my stopwatch. I'll turn this on. I'm going to let it go. We're going to get the elevation as 8.2, and now we're going to try to get the time in the data chart, okay, in the table. And I'm going to wait till this goes over to the end of the table. We're going to start with the back wheels, so it has something to set on. And then when the back wheels go over that side, we'll consider that to be good. Okay, ready, set, go. That came out to be 4.5 seconds. Okay, so 4.5 seconds is going to be your average time for the first trial. 4.50 seconds. Okay? And that number for the time will go right here for average time. See if you can see that. 4.5 seconds. Trial 2. Now we're going to add a book. And we're going to pretty much do the same thing we did before with the first trial. We'll get a new elevation. The new elevation you're going to write down in the table is going to be, it's right on 12 centimeters. Okay, so right on 12 centimeters. And then we're going to run the car down, side by side, get my stopwatch ready. Get ready, set, go. Now it's 3.66 seconds. 3.66 for trial 2. 3.66 seconds. Okay? Now we're going to have third one for the third trial. Same procedures. Elevation first, and then we'll look at getting the time it takes. This elevation for trial 3 should be at 15.6 centimeters. 15.6. Okay. Put it at the top. Get my stopwatch, reset it. This is going to be going quicker, so I'm going to have to fly down there and get it. Ready, set, go. Now it's a 2.68. 2.68 seconds. Okay. So you can see 2.68. 2.68. So it's a second quicker for trial 3. Trial 4. Another book going up. Get the elevation for this. Elevation for this would be right at 19.5. 19.5 centimeters. Reset. Put it at the top. Ready, set, go. Now it's 2.18 seconds. 2.18. 2.18 seconds. Trial 4. And another book for trial 5. Elevation. Height. Now we're looking at 23.5. 23.5. This one's going to be pretty quick, so I can be on my toes here. 23.5, ready, set, go. Let's try one again. I think I grabbed it too soon. .96. 1.96. That's for trial 5, 1.96. And then lastly, last book, last elevation for trial 6. Last elevation should look like, looking straight across here best I can, be vertical, horizontal rather, 27.5. 27.5. Okay? Now, we'll reset this. That's real fast now. Ready? Set. Go. Come out to be 1.84. I'm going to do it one more time just to make sure we get some consistency. Ready? Set. Go. 1.74. So that's good. We'll say it's 1.74 seconds. Okay? Now, your data sheet, the table should be filled out. It's going to look like, see if I can get all these numbers in the picture for you. 8.2 centimeters and 4.5 seconds for the first trial. Second trial was 12 centimeters at 3.66 seconds. Third trial is 15.6 centimeters at 2.68 seconds. Fourth trial is 19.5 centimeters at 2.18 seconds. Fifth trial is 23.5 centimeters at 1.96 seconds. And last trial, one we just got done doing, was 27.5 centimeters at 1.74 centimeters. Okay? Now, what we're going to do with this, as far as the information for the graph, I'm going to take these off here, is we're going to look at this graph being a line graph, and you're going to place the points all on the finishing distance. And the finishing distance, the finish line, was at 200 centimeters. So, in CAMI, you're going to number these up to 200. And I took and I made a bold line on my graph so you can see it being bold. So you count by 25s, 25, 50, 75, 100, all the way up to 200. And all of my dots for all my times are going to be at 200 centimeters because That's how long it took to reach my distance. Okay, so I'll try to bring you down here so I can show you the paper itself. Let's see if I can get it. Go off the lid off on camera. This is how we did it in class, so hopefully this will be able to replicate itself. Now, I'm trying to look through here like this so I can get a good focus. Your time is going to go along the bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. And then your distance is going to be at 200, and that 200 line is where all these are going to end up based upon the fact that they ended up at 200 centimeters. So the very first thing you have to worry about is plotting the average time for the elevation for trial 1. So I'm only worried about plotting these numbers right here. Okay, so the average time, 4.5 seconds. We're going to say each one of these lines in between the whole numbers are going to count as 0.2. So this would be 4.2, 4.4. So we'll take the 4.4 and we'll go up, and that'll be close enough on our line graph to put a dot there. Now that dot represents the average time at elevation 1 at 200 centimeters was 4.5 seconds. Okay, the next one we're going to do right here is 3.66. That's for the second trial. That's going to be 3.2, 3.4, 3.6. So I'm going to come up, put a dot there, and that dot just represents 3.66 seconds it took to go 200 centimeters. 2.68 is going to be trial 3. So here's 2, 2.2, 2.4, 2.6. And it kind of be in between 2.6 and 2.8. So I'm going to put it right here. And there's only 6 dots, so you can make them kind of big. Next one, for trial 4, 2.18. So 2.2, so right on 2.2 line, right beside it, you'll put a dot. And that represents 2.18 seconds at 200 centimeters. The last two are going to be kind of close together. 1.96, we'll just say that that's going to be on the 2 line. So I put a dot there. And then 1.74, that's going to be just a little bit further down. Here's 2, here's 1.8. So I'm going to say it's between 1.8 and 1.6, and I'll put a dot. Okay? So there are my 6 dots that represent the average times for each one of my trials. Okay? Now, to represent this graphically, to make our line graphs, what we're going to do, we're going to connect, since this was 200 centimeters, and this is where it stopped, we said at the beginning it started at the top of the board, and that'd be at 0 centimeters. Okay, so it went from 0 to 200. So we're going to take each one of these lines and track them back down to the vertex, which would be 0. Okay? So there's one for that. And in Kami, you can probably just use the straight line tool to do this, but since I'm doing a pen, I got to use a straight edge. Okay, and all of these should go back to 0 because that's where it started at in real life. Okay, the car started, the side-by-side started at 0 centimeters. So they're all going to go back to 0. And lastly, okay, now what that graphically represents, if you kind of look at it, it almost looks like the slope of the boards that we used in class, where the longest one, this would be trial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So trials. And up at the top here, we'll put down speeding down slopes graph. Okay, speeding down slopes graph. So this graph graphically represents with a line graph the slope and the elevation that you have here for trial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. As they went further into the trials, we stacked more books, so the slope got steeper. And since the slope got steeper, the times, average time in seconds, was also going to increase. Okay, and that's what we're trying to get with this this lab. Okay, so before you turn this into Kami, or turn it into Canvas rather, make sure the Kami assignment's filled in. You should have a title for the graph. Everything else should be filled in as far as the numbers up to 200. You should have your lines that represent the time in seconds it took to go down the 200 centimeter track. And then you're also going to have your data table filled in that lists the elevations I showed you during the video. Okay? This takes care of today as far as the lab goes. I hope you enjoyed watching that. It's been a lot of fun today. And tomorrow, I want to make sure you get your coach book, chapter 2 review. There are 12 multiple choice questions for 24 points. You want to take care of that when it's posted. And then also the speed problem sets. The one we did Friday and the one we did yesterday are both due by the end of the day tomorrow. Okay? Thank you very much for listening, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, this will be the assignment and lab for today. Okay? Thank you very much. Bye.